Hi there, Abdul. Let's take a look at your letter to Albion. Okay, so, respected committee, I am writing this letter to submit an apology and to inform you regarding my health condition. Owing to this, I was unable to take part in the examination held recently. All right, let's talk about this respected committee. You've probably seen this written in various places. However, notice that you will notice actually on the exam paper that it will tell you how to start your letter. It will tell you start your letter dear ... So those are instructions you have to follow. As far as I know, they all tell you start your letter dear ... So just pay attention to that, and you'll see that this respected committee doesn't really work. I found this sentence a little awkward. Let me show you where. I'm writing this letter to submit an apology and inform you regarding my health condition. You know what? I wouldn't even have said that. I probably would have just rephrased the whole thing. I am writing this letter to submit an apology for my absence from the examination held recently and to explain the reasons for my failure to attend. Something like that. My name is Abdul and my student number is this. I was suffering from fever accompanied by diarrhea the whole night before the exam. I visited the ER, you could have just said emergency room, and the doctor prescribed without the has me medicines along with bed rest. I took the medicine properly and hoped that I would be able to attend the exam the next morning, but it did not happen. I have the medical certificate with me, which would be duly submitted upon request. I keep wanting to make this will, but I'll leave it with would. That's fine. I have always been a studious student and would request you to kindly grant me permission to reappear maybe for the exam. Once again, I apologize for any inconvenience. Okay. No, we never put an apostrophe here. It's yours sincerely, but yours sincerely is actually not appropriate here because you don't know the name of the person you're writing to. And in this case, we write yours faithfully. Okay? You are missing a couple of things. Let's talk about the most important thing about this particular letter. Did you apologize for the situation? Yes. Did you identify yourself? Well, kind of. You said your name and you said your student number, but you never said your case number. And that means you've missed part of the bullet, and that's definitely going to hurt you with your score. Okay, that'll be affected in your task achievement score. So be careful. You have to make sure that you include everything that's in those bullets. Also, I'm not really a huge fan of the fact that you only use your first name. It's a formal letter. You aren't on a first name basis with these people, so it's important to use your full name. First and last, your student number and your case number, which you neglected to put. The other thing that was a problem was the fourth bullet where it says possible resolutions to consider. You only gave one resolution that you want to reappear for the exam, but they want multiple resolutions. So the S should kind of clue you into the idea that they want at least 2 resolutions. Okay? This is a problem that a lot of people who write this letter have. They don't realize that they're supposed to give more than one, so just be careful. The letter portion of the test often has little tricks like that, little things that if you're not careful, you could miss. Okay? There were some grammar things happening, lots of articles missing, so please be careful, and perhaps you should revise some rules about articles. Let's move on to your essay, which is about local food. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether imported food or local food is in favor of personal and national interest. Okay. Some believe that imported food is a better option. Personally, I strongly disagree. This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the U.S. and Indian government to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, so that's fine. Let's take a look at your next paragraph. There is ample evidence that imported food has been detrimental to environment. No, it should be the environment, okay? And the spelling of this word is wrong. And the economy. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, this is largely because food travels a long way from the site of production to the consumer market before it is purchased by people. This transport of products causes huge amounts, S, of fossil fuel combustion, comma, resulting in air pollution. The CO2 release strengthens the greenhouse effect and increases global warming. Recent empirical research by the U.S. government demonstrated that 1/3 of air pollution is caused by transportation, releasing 25% of greenhouse gas emission. Okay. Secondly, imported food comes at a higher price for consumers. Capital L. Local products cut down, no S, cut down the cost of processing, packaging, careful with your spelling, of packaging and transport. Furthermore, competition among local markets causes a decrease in prices of products. Due to high demand of locally grown fruits and vegetables, more farmers are employed in the agricultural sector. As a result, the country's economy boosts up. That's a little awkward, boosts up. I would have chosen a different word. It's a little informal. It just sounds awkward. For example, a recent survey by the Indian government showed that the Indian economy benefited 5% due to increased consumption of local products. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that imported food has a negative impact on economic growth. That's a very long paragraph. You had a lot of ideas. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned both the environmental as well as the economic implications of this, but it's really rather long. And the reason why that concerns me is because, look at this. This paragraph is tiny in comparison. So an examiner looking at this is going to say that you didn't deal with all parts of the task equally. Certainly did not. I mean, this is like 1/3 of this. So you should have maybe condensed this a little and put more emphasis on this. Let's take a look. Although there is a case for local food, and even it is cheap and easily available, but limits the consumer's choice. All right, that's a sentence with some errors. Although there is a case for local food, as it is cheap and easily available, comma, it limits the consumer's choice. This is largely because some fruit items like apples and grapes are grown in cold climates, S. So they cannot be cultivated in countries with warm climates, S. For example, kiwi is a fruit found in New Zealand, but it would be difficult to grow in India. Thus, it is possible to state beyond doubt that imported products provide, with no S, more variety for selection. All right, let's see. Let's keep going, and then I'll tell you my feedback at the end. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that locally grown food should be given preference. However, it should not be the only food available. It is predicted that the consumption of local food will increase in importance as people become aware of the merits associated with it. All right, that was nicely written. I'm a little concerned, though, about the rest of the development. First of all, some believe that imported food is a better option. Personally, I strongly disagree. Now, let's take a look at what the essay has asked you to talk about. It's better for the environment and the economy if we eat only local food. So that's what you're supposed to discuss, that it's better for the environment if we eat only local food. And then your first paragraph is talking about imported food and how that's detrimental to the environment and economy. So I understand how these two things are related, and maybe you think that by arguing how imported food is bad for the environment, then maybe in a sense you're telling us that local food is good for the environment and economy, but that's actually not what you're doing. Maybe in a kind of indirect, roundabout kind of way, but not enough for the purposes of IELTS. For IELTS, you're supposed to say how it's best if we eat only local food for both the environment and the economy. Okay, only eat local food. Okay, so you could have talked about here how it's not good to eat only local food, okay? How it doesn't help us. And I think you talked about that in this paragraph. Essentially, though, since you said that you agree that local food is important, this paragraph should have been first. So introduction and then this paragraph, which then makes this really long paragraph actually off topic, okay? So if this is your first body paragraph, right? Then your second body paragraph should have talked about how and why we should eat only local food and how it benefits two things, the environment and the economy. Okay? And it's really easy to see how you can plug these ideas into the template, because you can have one main idea for the environment and how local food helps it. And then you can have another main idea talking about the economy and again how local food helps it. So you just needed to shift things around a little bit, change your perspective in this paragraph for one thing, but also change the order of your paragraphs, okay? So there are a handful of things that you have to do now to these essays. Go ahead and correct them, add to your error correction list, and let's see what you do with your next set, okay? Remember that we always put the side that we support last. We put it closer to our conclusion. Remember that. It's a convention of writing, and it is something that the examiners will look for in terms of your coherence and cohesion score to make sure that you've organized your ideas properly. Okay? Keep that in mind. Let's see where you write with your next set of essays. Good luck to you.